Hello, my name is Jaden Carrillo, and for this engineering grand challenge, I chose making solar energy, solar power, much more economical. Now, the reason why I chose this is because in my opinion, I feel that solar energy is something that we need to invest more into. So for the sake of the sake and well-being of the planet and us in general as a whole, um, especially with the amount of benefits that come from solar energy itself. Solar energy allows us to be a lot more sustainable. It reduces the amount of air pollution being produced from things such as fossil fuels. It it also doesn't cause any kind of pollution in with the water, with say oil spilling from or the failure of oil mines in the ocean itself. Now, for the solutions that would need to be developed and implemented for solar panels to become more economically successful and efficient is not only trying to make the panels themselves gather energy at a more efficient rate, because they are currently gathering energy at most around like 33% of the energy from the sun, which they still make quite a bit of energy as it is, but they aren't as efficient as other sources of energy, and they tend to behind in terms of economic success purely because of the fact that fossil fuels are a lot cheaper, but and don't need as much of an investment to produce as solar panels because they are very expensive, and they're essentially a bad investment due to how relatively inefficient they are and how cheap fossil fuels are to making energy. Something that I learned with this grand challenge is that with the solutions that they need to make, they need to try and make the solar panels have like certain parts of solar panels need to be thin to allow the better transmission of energy, and they need certain parts to be thicker so that when it absorbs energy, it'll absorb more. And also another big issue with solar panels is making the storage capacity much better than it is now, so that energy is a lot more available from solar panels at night because they don't produce energy during the nighttime because the sun is not out. So the key to it is that during the daytime they will produce energy to absorb energy from the sun, and then they'll store that energy, so they'll store leftover energy so that at nighttime you can tap into the reservoir of energy and use that for as much as you can for whatever you need for during the nighttime. It's actually I actually found that they that these solutions are actually already trying to be implemented and are already being put into play, and they're actually making good headway. There's just a lot of it is experimental, and the main aspect that they need to find are just much more efficient materials to be used for solar panels, because the solar panels require specific materials and they tend to just not be the most efficient for what they're supposed to do. Now, for what would most likely happen if this challenge wasn't solved, I would say the effects would be really bad for the future. Solar energy is the most promising form of renewable energy we have, and if we put the proper amount of investment into it, it can become a permanent source of energy for us, and just overall really help us with handling energy and also solving issues in terms of the environment, reducing the effects of global warming and the rate of it, be able to put more time into focusing into solving that issue, and just reducing the effects that we make put of it due to fossil fuels. But if we don't invest in the solar panels now, or don't at all, then the greenhouse effect is going to increase dramatically to the point where we might make the planet uninhabitable or cause some kind of harm that or some kind of climate shift that just permanently affects the planet in a negative way and hurts life in general on the planet. There will be much lower air quality, and that'll also induce health problems. And this is an issue that affects everyone, not just wealthy or not just the poor or not just the middle class. It's an issue that affects everyone in the long run, and that's something we need to all consider when it comes to making solar panels much more efficient and a much better source of energy. Because in the long term, solar panels are essentially the future. Anyway, that's my engineering grand challenge. I hope this helps bring more light to the issue, and hopefully there will be more efforts into making solar panels a much better source of energy.